Hello and welcome to Jedite's Pagan Vlog. I'm Jedite, and today I want to answer a question that gets asked a lot on a number of the Pagan and Wiccan groups that I follow on Facebook. I'm sure this question gets asked in every Pagan community a lot, but that's where I see this question pop up a lot, and it's usually something to the effect of, I'm a baby witch, where do I start? First off, I want to say I'm not a fan of the term baby witch. I think anyone who uses it, you're putting yourself or whoever you're pointing to down. We're not babies, we're just new to this. That's just my opinion, your mileage may vary. Alright, as far as what skills I think that new practitioners to Wicca and Witchcraft and Paganism should learn, they're going to be meditation, visualization, grounding, reading, and taking notes. Let me get into all of these. Okay, the first skill that I think you need to know is meditation. You need to be able to clear your mind, get rid of all the extra stuff that's going on in there, and just get yourself in the right headspace to do your work, okay, without all the distractions of what's going on in your mind. There's an app available on Android. I'm pretty sure it's also on iOS called Headspace App. It's free to a degree, and it's a good way to learn meditation. There's also tutorials on YouTube that are free. There's also some really good guided meditations on YouTube, again for free. I'm a huge fan of those myself. Another form of meditation that is fairly popular, I don't use it myself, but I do know enough people who do, is yoga. At the end of the day, when it comes to meditation, you're just trying to clear your mind of all the stuff that's in the way so you can work on what you need to work on. And the next skill that I think a lot of pagans should be working on, and it's one that I find books mention you should have, but they don't tell you how to develop it, as a lot of books have that issue, is visualization. When you are doing spellcraft, when you're working magic, being able to have an image in your mind, a very precise image of what you are doing or what you want, is very important, and this is visualization. If you're trying to do a spell to bring money to you, being able to have a very crisp, accurate image of money is important, and can really empower what you're doing. Visualization is a skill that some people pick up very easy. Some people it's more work. For me, it was definitely on the more work end of that scale. When I was learning how to get really good visualizations, I actually came across a book, which I'd say is probably one of the more important books in my personal library, and it had a couple of really basic exercises on visualization, and when I did them a couple times, something just clicked and it started making sense to me. Another important skill, I think, pagans... Oh, and before I go on to the next one, something about visualization is, before you can visualize something, you need to clear your mind. It helps. So you should get into that meditative headspace and then work your visualization. One leads to the next. And that's the next thing with grounding, which is a very important skill. And it does build on both meditation and visualization. When you do spell work, when you do magic, you tend to raise energy. And depending on what you're doing, you can raise a lot of energy. I know on one of the Facebook groups, somebody was saying, they did like their first spell, and they're like fidgety, and they got like all this extra energy, and they don't know, is this normal? It is normal if you don't ground. Grounding is the practice of releasing all that extra energy. And for me, how I do it, I sit ideally on the floor. Sometimes I just sit in a chair, and then I clear my mind. I start to meditate, and then once my mind is where I need it to be, I move into visualization. I visualize a taproot, a big root growing from the base of my spine down through what I'm sitting in, down through the floor, down into the ground, and then I picture all that energy just moves into that root, down, and dissipates through the ground. And that is me dissipating all that extra energy through me, through that root, into the earth, where it can be reused, other practitioners can draw on it, it returns to the cycle. I know some people who will just use a piece of crystal, and they will just hold it, and they will visualize the energy moving into that crystal. Then there are people who work with crystals, they'll then clear them out. Maybe they'll rinse it under running water to wash away the extra energy. I don't really do that technique, so I don't really know exactly how they do it. It's a little different for everyone. But again, here's grounding, and I've taken meditation, I've taken my visualization, and I've applied them. So that's why I recommend those 3 skills to start, because they build on each other. Excuse me. Reading is an important skill. I mean, I'm assuming we can all read. Unlike bigger, more mainstream religions where you can go somewhere and somebody will just teach you what you need to know, or you can go to like your sermons and they'll just tell you what they think you should know. Wicca is a path where you're going to be doing a lot of your own research. You're going to be expected to be doing a lot of critical thinking and figuring this out on your own. Yes, there are schools. There are seminaries that teach Wicca. There's a few. But they do exist. There are teachers who will take on students. Some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. There's a lot in between. Being able to do your own research, being able to do your own critical thinking and your own studying, very important if you want to not just practice, but if you want to grow in Wicca and really any of the pagan religions. The books that I recommend are, there's 5 of them. The first 3 is The Truth About Witchcraft Today, Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner, and Living Wicca. All 3 of these were written by Scott Cunningham. He's a great writer. All of his books are great. These 3 are the ones that I recommend for new practitioners. That first one, The Truth About Witchcraft Today, if you can't find a copy, skip it. You're not out anything. It's a fairly short... Well, hold on a second. Yeah, it's this one here, The Truth About Witchcraft. It is a very short book. It's only 100... about 170 pages. If you can't find it, it's not the end of the world, but I do think it's a good book for for a new practitioner coming into this to actually know what you're getting into. It's not super, here's what we do, X, Y, Z, here's a course of study, but at least lets you come into this with a good idea of what Wicca actually is. The other 2, Wicca, Guide for the Solitary Practitioner, Living Wicca, those are good books if you want to actually learn what you're doing, which is why those 2 I recommend over the first. Again, all 3 are great. All 3 of them are available on Amazon. All but The Truth About Witchcraft is available on Z Library, z-lib.org. You can get the books there for free. Another book that I recommend, Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft by Raymond Buckland. Some people call it Bucky's Big Blue Book because it is. I don't have a copy of that one on hand. It's a very large format book. And it's got a bright blue cover. A lot of people swear by it. There's a number of people who do not like that book. I think it's because they also are not particularly fans of Raymond Buckland. I don't have anything against him personally. I think it's a very valuable resource, though. And it's certainly a book worth looking into. I know a lot of pagans, that is the book that started them on their path. One other book that I recommend is the Remora for the Apprentice Wizard by Obranzelle Ravenhardt. Okay, let me say this about the book. I find it a very valuable resource. I do. I know at least one practitioner who refers to it as her Bible in her path. It is a very valuable resource. Oberon has been a part of the pagan and New Age community for literally decades. Um, the community, the movement would be very different if it was not for him. He is that much of a cornerstone of it. The book, however, the Remora for the Apprentice Wizard, is a very valuable resource. However, when he wrote the book, the Harry Potter movies were still being made. Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings had just come out. There was an interest by younger readers, I'd say like your teens, early 20s, and that is the market he wrote that book for. So you're going to find in that book pop culture references, Harry Potter references, things like that. It's a great book once you get past some of that pop culture fluff. What he's actually teaching is very useful. It is well written. The illustrations are wonderful. I think he did most of them himself. Some people don't like it because they get hung up on the fact that he does mention Harry Potter. He does mention Lord of the Rings. And while I don't think you should build your path based on those things, he acknowledges that there are people interested in learning these pagan and Wiccan paths who were inspired to start their studies because of them. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a book some people love, some people hate. That's how it is. And another skill that, the last skill that I'm going to mention that I think new pagans and new practitioners should learn and should master is note-taking. Well, anyone can write a note. Writing good notes does take a little bit of time, though. But as you learn, whenever you do a ritual or a spell, take notes. Take notes of what you did, what worked, what didn't work, what was the outcome. If you're trying something new, document what you're doing. This will later become the foundation, the beginning of your Book of Shadows, your grimoire, but it'll also give you the ability to look back weeks or months later and say, did that work? Did that not work? And you can take it in the bigger picture and look at what works and what doesn't work for you. My website, wiccan.pw, which is not only the place where I just post these videos, it is also my actual Book of Shadows. It is a work in progress. A lot of the stuff over time, I didn't take notes, I memorized it. And I'm at the point I want to get it all down, written, and I personally want to share what my notes. Not everyone does that. That's fine. For me, I feel like I should be sharing my book Shadows. So that's what I'm doing there. It is a work in progress, but it is there. One day I hope it'll be a resource I can say, hey, yes, if you're new, go check this out. Here's everything you need. It's not there yet, though. Meditation, visualization, grounding, reading, and note-taking. Those are the skills I'd say if you're a new pagan, a new Wiccan, that you should be working on. That will get your foot in the door. That'll get you a good set of skills that a lot of things build off of those. Check out my website, wiccan.pw. It's where I post these videos. I post my book Shadows, as I said. If you like this video, I do ask that you hit the like button and hit subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it helps me out knowing that people care about these videos, and it encourages me to make more of them. If you have any questions you would like me to answer, just leave it in the videos below this video, and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. As I said, I'm Jedite 3. Thank you for checking out my pagan vlog. Until next time, may you blessed be.